Triple M. Woo! Cook it up, cook it up. Let's get it, Presita. What's up, you guys? Happy Monday. Fired up. It's a new week, and it's beautiful today. Here in Miami, we've been getting so much rain last week. It's amazing to have a beautiful, clear day. I hope it's clear where you're at because there's nothing like a sunny day to help your mood out for a new week. So, Triple M, welcome all the new people. Welcome everybody on live. Welcome everybody watching recording. Fired up to start the week with some positive motivation because what you put into your mind has everything to do with the kind of life you live. And today we're going to be listening to a guy that really inspires me about who he is, what he's accomplished, how he stood up for himself, his family, his country, and he's really a big inspiration for me. So I hope he is for you too. His name is Barack Obama, former president of the United States. He's going to be sharing his rules for success. So get out your notebooks, get your mind open, and put in the chat thread, if you can, your name and where you're from. And when there's time for the shares, I'm excited to hear from you guys and what you guys took away live on the call. And if you're at work or somewhere where you can't share live, no problem. Throw your shares in the chat box. I guarantee you get out what you put in. You can't put in 0 and expect to get, massive 100 nuggets. You got to put in and then you get out. You reap and then you sow. You sow and then you reap. I wish it was reap and then you sow. No, you sow and then you reap. You do the work, you get the result. So what you put into this Triple M, I guarantee you will get out. You take notes, you'll get more. You put in the chat bar, you'll get more. You share live, you'll get more. So without further ado, let's get into some massive nuggets from Barack Obama, former president of the United States, sharing his rules for success.
Well, with respect to failure, it's terrible, but necessary. If you are going to try something hard, if you're putting yourself out there in some way, there are going to be times where you screw up or you don't succeed. Or there are times where you do everything right and you still don't succeed. But that's not just true of politics or running a non-for-profit. That's true. Some of you talked about being entrepreneurial. If you're starting a clothing line, that's a cutthroat business. I'm sure I have every confidence that you're going to succeed at some point, but you'll go through some failures. And I think that the most important thing, and this is a little bit of a cliche, but sometimes cliches are true, is to learn from those failures and to have a sense of resilience and be able to examine what is it that I did not succeed at, why didn't I succeed, and what do I need to do better. If you're focused on giving of yourself to accomplish something, then even when you fail at a particular objective, you're still succeeding in learning about how you can accomplish those goals.
Maybe someone in your family has lost their job and there's not enough money to go around. Maybe you live in a neighborhood where you don't feel safe or have friends who are pressuring you to do things you know aren't right. There is no excuse for not trying. Where you are right now doesn't have to determine where you'll end up. No one's written your destiny for you, because here in America, you write your own destiny. You make your own future. Dr. King once said, before we reach the majestic shores of the promised land, there is a frustrating and bewildering wilderness ahead. We must still face prodigious hilltops of opposition and gigantic mountains of resistance, but with patient and firm determination, we will press on. So I don't know about you, CBC, but the future rewards those who press on. With patient and firm determination, I'm going to press on for jobs. I'm going to press on for equality. I'm going to press on for the sake of our children. I'm going to press on for the sake of all those families who are struggling right now. I don't have time to feel sorry for myself. I don't have time to complain. I'm going to press on. I expect all of you to march with me and press on. Take off your bedroom slippers. Put on your marching shoes. Shake it off. Stop complaining. Stop grumbling. Stop crying. We are going to press on. We've got work to do. Whether we have seen eye to eye or rarely agreed at all, my conversations with you, the American people, in living rooms and in schools, at farms, on factory floors, at diners, and on distant military outposts. Those conversations are what have kept me honest and kept me inspired and kept me going. And every day I have learned from you. You made me a better president, and you made me a better man.
The sole time in my political career where I think I ran more just because it was the next thing, rather than running because I had a good theory of what it is that I wanted to do. And this is a mistake I think a lot of folks who get into politics make. And so when I see White House interns or I talk to young people, I always tell them, worry less about what you want to be and worry more about what you want to do. Because when you're more concerned with, I want to be a congressman, or I want to be a senator, or I want to be rich, then, you know, some people may succeed in chasing that goal, but when they get there, they don't know what to do with it. And if they don't get there, they don't have anything to show for it. But if you're worrying about, I want to improve education in low-income neighborhoods, or I want to deal with climate change and help save the planet, then whatever you're doing in pursuit of that goal, in and of itself is going to be worthwhile. And it's going to teach you things, and it's going to put you in a position to have an impact. And then if it turns out as a result that you also end up being successful in politics or whatever thing you're pursuing, then so much the better. The most successful business people that I know, Bill Gates didn't start off saying, I want to be the richest man in the world. He started off saying to himself, I really think these computers are cool, and I want to write cool software. That's what he wanted to do. Worked out well for him.
Young people like Jasmine Perez from Roma, Texas. Jasmine didn't speak English when she first started school. Neither of her parents had gone to college. But she worked hard, earned good grades, and got a scholarship to Brown University, as now in graduate school studying public health, on her way to becoming Dr. Jasmine Perez. I'm thinking about Andoni Schultz from Los Altos, California, who's fought brain cancer since he was 3. He's had to endure all sorts of treatments and surgeries, one of which affected his memory, so it took him much longer, hundreds of extra hours, to do his schoolwork. But he never fell behind. He's headed to college this fall. And then there's Chantel Steve from my hometown of Chicago, Illinois. Even when bouncing from foster home to foster home in the toughest neighborhoods in the city, she managed to get a job at a local health care center, start a program to keep young people out of gangs, and she's on track to graduate high school with honors and go on to college. And Jasmine, Andoni, and Chantel aren't any different from any of you. They face challenges in their lives just like you do. In some cases, they've got it a lot worse off than many of you. But they refuse to give up. They chose to take responsibility for their lives, for their education, and set goals for themselves. And even when you're struggling, even when you're discouraged, and you feel like other people have given up on you, don't ever give up on yourself. And I remember in 1979 arriving as a freshman and doing what freshmen do, trying to figure out what courses are and trying to change your study habits and trying to identify that food in the cafeteria, what it is. And we were visited on campus by a couple of gentlemen from South Africa who were representatives of the ANC in 1979, 1980. And they spoke about their efforts to overcome apartheid. And for about an hour, myself and a group of students listened to these young men who were not much older than we were describe the extraordinary struggles they were going through, the sacrifices that were being made. People who were enduring jail and torture and beatings because they had a sense that somehow, some way, justice would prevail. And that brief meeting, I think, in some ways changed my life, because what it told me, first of all, was that ordinary people can do extraordinary things when they're given an opportunity. We sometimes think that our leaders have to have fancy degrees or well-educated or some public office somewhere. These young men had none of those things. But what they possessed was a anger over injustice that they were able to channel in a constructive, positive way. And I thought to myself that they gave me some sense of the direction that my life might go. And so I became active in the anti-apartheid movement on campuses. And I'm not sure we were particularly effective. As I recall, Occidental College continued to refuse to divest despite the various protests that we organized as students. I transferred to Columbia, and there was similar resistance on Columbia's campus. But over time, I like to think that I was part of that mosaic that applied pressure and ultimately helped those in South Africa achieve the extraordinary liberation that I would witness almost 10 years later as a law student. And I remember the image of Nelson Mandela walking out of prison and understanding that a seminal moment in history had occurred and that Mandela's long march towards freedom was not his alone, but was part of thousands of footsteps, of millions of footsteps of people all around the world. And I trace back me getting involved in politics to that moment, because as a consequence of that organizing on a college campus, I became a community organizer. As a consequence of a community organizer, after going back to law school, became a civil rights attorney. As a consequence of being a civil rights attorney, I entered the state legislature, and I now stand before you as a United States Senator and as a candidate for president. And so the primary message I guess I have in receiving this award is that all of you represent enormous potential and enormous possibility for change, because we all know that injustice still exists. It exists here in the United States, in every poor neighborhood, and every inner city, and every rural community all across the country. There is quiet desperation. Young people's lives are filled with sadness and desperation and anarchy and chaos. And obviously all around the world, we see those same symptoms of hopelessness made manifest in places like Darfur, in places like the Middle East, in places that too often are forgotten about and not written about until they flare up in tragedy. So I hope that all of you who are on the brink of doing extraordinary things decide to channel that talent and that energy and that imagination to figuring out how do you move the process along for a better history. Yeah.
Awesome. Major nuggets. A little bit more, not so rah-rah, but a little bit more on the wisdom side. So I'm excited to hear from some of you guys. Love seeing everybody from all over Miami, LA, San Diego, Dallas. Okay. Keep throwing in there where you're from, and then throw in there your biggest takeaways if you can't share live, and then we're about to get some live shares. So for me, I really love worry more about what you want to do versus where you want to be. So he talked about a lot of people getting to places and not being fulfilled because they were thinking of a location rather than a reason. And I really love that because it comes back to something we talk about in Herbalife so much, which is knowing your why. You know, I hear people all the time say, you know what, I want to get to president's team, or I want to get a six-pack, or I want to drop this amount of weight, or I want to gain this weight, or I want to get on stage, or I want to tell my story, or I want to be an STS speaker, success training seminar speaker. And that's all fine and that's all awesome, but why do you want to do it? Because if the why you want to do it is just to say you want to do it, then you're probably not going to get there if it's got any struggle attached to it. What do I mean by that? If you say, hey, I want to be president's team just because it sounds cool, and there's a lot of people that cheer when they talk about president's team, and that's the only reason you want to say it, then the minute it gets a little tough, it gets dropped. Because it wasn't worth, think about it, saying it is not worth the toughness as soon as the toughness starts. But if you want to get to president's team, if you want to share your story, if you want to change 100 lives in 2018, then that has a lot deeper of a grounding motivation inside of you that when things come, and remember, things will come. Nobody's got it easy on any great task. So when you get deep on the why, you know why you want to get there before you even take the first step. And that's what I always encourage people. Don't worry about where you want to be. Worry about what you want to do when you're there. What kind of a person do you want to be? What kind of creation do you want to make? Who do you want to impact? And then, like he said, the money's going to come. The results are going to come because of who you become. He said Bill Gates didn't start off to be the richest man in the world, or one of them. I don't think that was it. If you look at him, he honestly wants to give back, I think, like 85% of his wealth or 90% of his wealth. Him and his wife are giving back, Melinda Gates. Hey, imagine, people be tripping about 10%, you know, tithing and giving back. 85% of billions of dollars. Most people would be like, hell nah, man. I need some Bugattis. I need some trips. I need some houses. So obviously that's not what motivated him. What did he say? He said, I want to take this technology. I want to see where it goes. I'm excited to see what we can create. And he created one of the most beneficial things to the world. So I thought that was really possible. I'll just take that one, and then I'll pass it over to Rox. Rox, what you got?
What's up, you guys? Happy Monday. So for me, I love when he said, learn from the failures. And kind of in alignment with what Aubrey was talking about. And sometimes I know for myself and just for people in general, when the tough times hit, we sometimes think, like, is this really worth it? Do I want to keep on going on? And if you can turn the failure around rather than being disappointed and, oh my goodness, why is this happening? And I'm terrible, yada, yada, yada. Take the opportunity to learn from it. So it's just like when we feel that we failed in any area, like the question for me that I always ask myself is, how can I get better? How can I learn from this? And that will always give us the things that we need in order to be even greater. So I love that. And I loved how he said, in America, you write and you create your own future. Like, that is so freaking real. Like, we live in the land of opportunity. We live in a land where it's so much opportunity. Like, most people come here from other countries seeking an opportunity. And I believe that there's even research that says that those who come from different countries are typically the ones who are the self-made millionaires. Why? Because they come here hungry with the dream, versus if you're born here, a lot of the times what I've seen is that we could get complacent. We could be like, life is okay, it's good, I'm surviving, I'm paying my bills, and that's it. And like, really, like, we do have a great opportunity. Like, where else do you have opportunities, like to go to school, to start your own business, like just like libraries and knowledge, YouTube's, like, you can literally Google anything here and it'll pop up. Like there's places in China where they're like in China and different countries where they censor information. So just think about that. And everything is just like at the disposal of our fingertips. So I really love that. And then I loved how you said that the future rewards those who press on. They press on during the tough times. They press on when it's the good times. Like no matter what, keep pressing on. And if you keep pressing on, you'll get to where it is that you want to be.
Love it. Major nuggets. I was born here, so I'm going to break that statistic. But yes, millionaires that are foreign born are 4 times more likely, to be foreign born here in LA or Los Angeles. I mean,
In
the
the
U.S.,
country.
meaning that the hunger is real. So us all native born, we need to step it up, all right? So that's basically what that means. All right, let's get a few shares live. Give me a thumbs up or a smile. Susie, what you got?
What's up? What's up? So mine was refuse to give up. I feel like there's so many things that, could go wrong, could go like not the way we had planned them. And it's easy to give up, but then again, it's like you don't really get rewarded for giving up at all. So for me, that was my biggest takeaway. Being on this journey with Herbalife, 2.5 years, those thoughts have came through, crossed my mind, to be honest with you, but that would have been easy. I wouldn't have reaped the benefit of I wouldn't have been living in Miami right now had I given up, and so just staying with that. I mean, whether if it's Herbalife or not, just in general, anything in life, just keep going on and just not giving up.
Love it. Major nuggets. Never give up. Now living that Miami life. That's what it can do for you. Your dreams and goals become reality. All right, next we got Ashley and brand new Active World team. Let's turn up. Let's get it.
Hey, great morning. Happy Monday, guys. I'm so excited to see all these beautiful faces. So my takeaway was learn from others actually too. So it's so funny who we learn from. It's not just our parents. It's not just like a couple of teachers here and there. It's everyone. You base your whole life and everything you think and everything you say and everything you do off of people around you. And so it's so great that when you get around, like just in the Herbalife community or just around people who make you better, who strive to push you to do better, that you learn so much from others. You don't have to be exactly like the people around you, but you pull the best qualities out of them and it builds you to be such a better person all around. So definitely learn from others. And it doesn't even matter who you learn from. You can learn from the janitor at your school, or you can learn from, it doesn't matter. You're learning every day from someone, and just to smile, take nothing for granted. It's just amazing who we get to learn from every single day. So definitely, that's my best takeaway.
Always learning. And give them one tip. Brand new Active World team. Give them one tip on how you got to Active World team. You guys in Herbalife, this is a great leadership position. Means you're helping people. You're teaching and training others how to become leaders too. It's amazing. Give us your one tip for Active World team.
It's definitely part with the learn from others, but definitely get and be coachable. Listen to I took a lot of love from my sidelines, my upline, and people who are even under me when it comes to the marketing plan, only because I needed to hear those things. Sometimes you can't see where you're going wrong, and it helps to be coachable and take it on. Like if they tell you need to work on something, take that on with all your heart and give your very best at it. And that's what helped me get to Active World team. I just love everybody. I'm so grateful for everybody.
Love it. Be coachable by everybody. I love it. How long have you been with Herbalife for your Active World team achievement?
Well, I've been with Herbalife for 4 years. I didn't take on the business though until about last year, July, and I didn't start taking it seriously until about January of this year. So
nice. So 4 years on the products, right? As a client, you guys, you cannot give up on your clients. 4 years. And then January this year took it on Active World team. Oh my God. Congratulations, Ashley. You just gave a lot of inspiration right now. Fire me.
Thanks.
I need to go call some clients right now from back in the day and let them know. All right, let me get a few from the chat bar. I've got Maria from Miami, phenomenal. Write your own destiny. There's no excuse for not trying. Where you are now does not determine where you will be in the future. Refuse to give up on no one. has it easy. There always has someone out there who has it worse than you and is getting ahead. We are no different from those who are successful. Ordinary people do extraordinary things when given the opportunity. That was awesome. Let's get it. Emma Barron from LA. Refuse to give up. My greatest takeaway is due to the fact of being the first one in my family to learn English at 12, most difficult age, graduated from college and succeeding. Let's get it. All right, I got room for one more takeaway. Who's got a takeaway? Give me a thumbs up or a smile if you're excited to share. Thumbs up or smile. Everybody's thinking about it. Nicole, what you got?
I just like the fact that he said take responsibility. Kind of what Derek's in the chat, but kind of piggybacking off of that, a lot of people don't take responsibility. They're always like, oh, like one guy at my work is, oh, you're lucky, you don't have kids. I'm like, but if you take responsibility for where you're at and what's going on and just not making these excuses, great things can happen. So I think, and it's kind of simple, but a lot of us kind of like want, it sounds terrible, but really to be pitied. But if you just say, okay, this is, I think the more struggles you have and the more you have to overcome, that I think that just makes you by far a greater person. So, and then you become even more relatable to so-and-so. So just really taking responsibility for what's going on in your life.
Love that. Absolutely. Everybody can have an excuse, and sometimes you'll have people giving the same excuse for two different situations. Oh, man, it's because you got kids. Oh, man, it's because I don't got kids. I've heard the same thing. Somebody told us you guys should have kids so you get the president's team. And then you'll have some people say, man, I got kids, so I can't get the president's team. Yeah. So it's all about the situation. And like you said, sometimes there'll be people that complain about even having too much. Oh, man, I had it too easy. There was no struggle. So you never know. Everybody can excuse themselves from greatness, but really there is no excuse from greatness. You know, if you hear about people having it times 10 hard and you got it times 7 hard, there ain't no excuse for you. Like Tony Robbins said, if anybody did it and you couldn't do it, it wasn't because it couldn't be done. It's because you didn't find the resources, you didn't do the work, you didn't do the research. It's not that it's impossible. It's just that you didn't do enough. You didn't try hard enough. You didn't learn enough. You weren't coachable. There's always a reason. So I love that. Great takeaway. Fire me up. Last one, Tiffany from the chat bar. My biggest takeaway would be refuse to give up. There's someone somewhere that is struggling more than you. You have to set goals and keep on moving. Push on, like President Obama said. And no matter what, don't give up. Even when it feels like nothing is going your way, continue to believe and push yourself. Also do something extraordinary, which made me think of don't just go with the flow. You have to be bigger and better things to get the goals that you're trying to achieve. Absolutely. Great job, you guys. Fired up. Share this recording. Share the flyer. Take a picture. Share your takeaways. Do not leave it with you. And always, always, always bring a friend on Triple M. That rhymes. Bring a friend on Triple M. Every Monday. Have a great week. I'm going to unmute everybody. Give us some energy. Where you at?
Hey, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Happy Monday.
Let's get it.